Do me for hold this L.
Hold this L.
Hold this L.
All right, welcome to another episode of Hold This L. What's going on, cuz?
What up? What up, big bro? Man, excited, ready to grub tomorrow for Thanksgiving, man. Get my belly full. I literally think, well, I don't think, I think I'm self-consciously starving myself, man, just so I can have a big enough appetite to get all that food in tomorrow. What about you?
I mean, I'm ready to eat too. I haven't been starving myself, not by any means, not
Yeah,
at
not
all.
literally, but you know.
I know you're not being literally. I'm just saying I've been eating. Like I'm making sure I ain't missed a meal, and I won't be missing none tomorrow either. But yeah, I'm excited about this Thanksgiving Day football. I'm always excited about Thanksgiving football, even though my team is not the team that normally plays. We got some. I don't know how Detroit and the Cowboys became the team that's always on football Thursdays for Thanksgiving, but they need to reconsider that shit. I mean, I know it's tradition, but maybe it needs to be more three primetime matchups. Or I know they make the schedule ahead of time what they expect to be primetime matchups. And
Right.
I guess you could say Dallas, because before the year started, people thought Dallas was going to be pretty good because they should be good. They should be good as far as the offense, anyways. But Detroit ain't never been good.
Right, right.
Like, how did that even happen?
I don't understand that at all, man. I really don't. I really don't.
I'm gonna have to Google that. I'm gonna have to look it up because I don't quite understand why Detroit is even an option for the Thursday game. I mean, for real, it's actually, gotta cut my light on. I didn't realize my light wasn't
Yeah,
bright.
you got a little
Um,
brighter there.
yeah, but I can't even believe that. But anyways, I'm excited for football as always. But I've been on college football and college basketball lately, man. I've been, doing my research, listening to, from the daily fantasy perspective. And I'm not saying I'm about to start giving y'all tips on college basketball and college football. It's just too much. But it's been kind of interesting. It's actually, it's been kind of interesting. I think I can make some things shake with it. So basketball started today. It's Wednesday, of course. When y'all hear this, it'll be Friday. But college basketball started today. Just kind of get me excited about what's to come in a month for the NFL. I mean NBA. Speaking of NBA, we done had a lot of moves, man. A lot of moves. What you think about free agency so far?
I'm friggin' ecstatic. Did it
Why?
seem like I was waiting on you to ask that question?
I,
um, bro, my Lakers. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, everything that I could have thought we needed to do, we've done it. And I still don't feel like we finished. But the addition of Mar Gasol, re-signing Markieff Morris, getting Montrezl Harrell. I mean, bruh, I don't see a scenario. I mean, even shout out Wesley Matthews, even also, every single one of our pickups, knowing we gonna re-sign AD. Man, I'm ecstatic. I see a repeat. I see a repeat in the future, bro. I mean, I really, really do.
you know, I'm excited too. I'm not really excited. I mean, I'm glad to see we made the changes. I don't usually get too excited over free agency unless it's like some big signings. But I have to admit, man, the Lakers, they own it. The Lakers went and retooled the free agency like they lost the finals and they know they got to get better.
Right.
Which that's the mentality that you need to have. But I think I'm glad they had that mentality because they didn't have the best team, in my opinion. They had two best players that could compensate for what they lacked in, but they weren't deep on their bench. They had some starters that was pretty much, like Danny Green, JaVale McGee. While JaVale McGee started, he really wasn't. He was somebody that could be upgraded. Let me put it like that, because I don't want to devalue what he did for the team. What he did was fine when he was in the game, but he didn't play many minutes for a reason. And I think they recognized that. I think they realized, you know what, we won a championship, but LeBron getting a year older, and people gonna get, the competition gets better every year. We got to upgrade, and that Marc Gasol pickup was huge. But the pickup that I like the most And most people probably ain't gonna agree, but I believe that by the end of the year, or at least when we get, halfway into the year, people will start to see why I say that. I think Wes Matthews was the biggest pickup, and I'm gonna tell you why. People look at Wes Matthews at the Milwaukee Bucks and they like, oh, Wes Matthews over the year he washed up. Wes Matthews wasn't asked to do anything. Look at how Wes Matthews played. I don't know if you remember that game. It was the game before they was eliminated by the Heat, and the Giannis was out, and Wes Matthews came to play. Wes Matthews was all over the court. He was driving to the basket. He was shooting threes. He was D'ing up. It's because he was asked to do more. They didn't ask him to score. They didn't. They never. He played 30 minutes and they just wanted to play defense. That was his role. But he's gonna have wide open looks with LeBron James.
And he is a sharpshooter.
Like exactly like he is going to have a career. I ain't gonna say a career year because when he was with Portland, he had more usage. So I'm not gonna say a career year, but he's going to shoot a lot of threes and he's gonna hit a lot of threes. And if he's starting, which I anticipate, because I anticipate the starting five is going to be LeBron, KCP, Wes Matthews, AD, and Marc Gasol, because they got Montrezl Harrell coming off the bench, so it just don't make sense to start anybody else at center. I feel like Wes Matthews is going to get at least 25 to 30 minutes a game, and I feel like he's going to have so many open shots. It's going to be like the easiest year of his career. And when I say he's the biggest pickup, maybe not the biggest, because Marc Gasol is big, but I feel like Wesley Matthews is going to be one of those players that's on the court down the stretch because of his defense and because he can shoot. Marc Gasol, I don't think so as much. I think he's going to play about 20 minutes a game, probably not 25, not 30. Dennis Schroeder, that's a great pickup. Now, that's a great pickup.
That's the one.
But everybody is expecting Dennis Schroeder to be good because we know what he is. You're not looking at Wesley Matthews to be like, maybe I should say he's the wild card pickup, not the best pickup, the wild card pickup.
I like that.
But I think Wes Matthews is going to be in a great play this year, for real.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. Your starting five, I 100% agree with. I have a different finishing five. I think we'll see a lot of those games where the finishing five is going to be LeBron, Dennis Schroeder, Wesley Matthews, AD, and Montrezl Harrell, with AD playing the five. I think we'll see a lot of games finish that way. You got five veterans that can close out games for you. You could put AD at the five. You got just think about a lineup with AD, Montrezl Harrell. Both can block shots. Both can play defense. Both are high energy. On top of having Dennis Schroeder, LeBron James. Well, Dennis Schroeder, Wesley Matthews, with LeBron James feeding it to him and setting him up. Bro, what do you do with that closing? I'm sorry, man. I'm just excited. I apologize. But what do you do with that starting five? Like, who do you guard? Who do you double? What do you do? I mean, yeah. I think it's almost impossible to guard that 5-man lineup. There's nobody you can key on.
I agree, and I think it's also interchangeable. I think depending on the matchup, you can take out Gasol. Not Gasol, you could take out Trez and put in Markieff Morris. Because I mean, it's like this. Depending on the matchup, you may need somebody to shoot threes, and Montrezl Harrell, while he's a dog on the boards and getting those scrappy points and playing defense, he's not a 3-point shooter. You know, so if you need that to spread the floor at the end of the game, then you got Markieff Morris. I believe that you may be able to pull out Wes Matthews and put in Caruso. You know what I'm saying? Not that you need anything. You may want to have Caruso bring the ball to the court, but Caruso has proven in my eyes, Caruso's proven that he could finish on the floor.
Yeah, and Kuzma. We got so many. Like I say, that's based on matchups, how hot hand, and different things like that. And the beautiful thing about that, we have so many options now.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have. You knew every game in and game out this past year who was going to finish the games. You pretty much knew.
Yeah.
Now we can put 8, 9 different guys out there to finish games, and not lose anything by putting any of them out there based on the matchups and who we trying to play or what we trying to do. So I mean, bro, I'm just super excited about it, man. We not only did we get deeper, we got more versatile.
Yeah. You remember the times with LeBron, in Cleveland, and people would say stuff like, man, nobody want to play with LeBron. Nobody, doing free agency, nobody want to go play with LeBron. And me and you never talked about it, but I always have said, when it comes to people going to play in another city, we sit at home thinking the decision is all about who's going to win a championship. More goes into the decision of where you're going to play, how much you're going to be able to make. More of that is a decision. You know why people didn't go to Cleveland to play? Because it was Cleveland.
Yes.
It was Cleveland, and people knew that Golden State was, you had Kevin Durant with him then. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't. But look now though. Look what LeBron at now. He's where? L.A. He's in L.A. and he just won a championship. So it's a reason why people are coming there now to sign with them. Number one, you notice it's not like we had big signings as far as like lots of money being doled out, because you can only pay so much when you got AD and LeBron on your team. So I just wanted to point that out, that it's not about who the person is per se. A lot of times it's about where the location is. Now, when nobody would come and play in LA with Kobe, I think that was legit, because it wasn't superstars that we were talking about. We were talking about free agents. And you gotta be ready to play with Kobe.
Right.
He's not like LeBron.
He held people to a different standard. And one thing about Kobe wasn't trying to be your friend.
Mm-hmm.
If you wasn't coming there to win a championship, I don't need you. I don't want you. A la Dwight Howard pretty much showed us that. We saw how he did playing with LeBron, and we saw how he did playing with Kobe. Just didn't work well together. So, LeBron is more of a player-friendly teammate.
He's a different leader. And that's how
absolutely. That's exactly what it is. He leads different, but it works. LeBron leads more on the court than he does off the court. LeBron is more of a hangout type of guy. Let's go to our house. Let's have a movie. Let's go have a big Halloween party. Let's get together. Let's have fun off the court. But when we on the court, we come ready to play. Yeah. Have it on your mind. I'm going to put you in the position to win. I just need you to produce like you're supposed to. Kobe, no, you need to be out there playing the way I play. If you ain't giving the same energy and doing the same thing I do, we got a problem. Mm-hmm. So, it's like you say, it's just two different types of leadership. And to be honest with you, LeBron's leadership to me, and personally, as much as I love Kobe, actually works better and resonates better. Kobe took too long to figure that out.
Yeah. Across the league, as far as other teams, I think the Bucks got better. I'm not convinced like everybody else is that the Nets is the number one team to beat. I still feel like the Bucks is the number one team to beat when you talk about a regular season, not the playoffs. But the reason why, I think the Bucks are going to be a threat in the playoffs more than they've ever been because of the signing of Jrue Holiday, because of the trade with Jrue Holiday. People don't realize how good Jrue Holiday is. They're going to see now. With Giannis on the team, they're going to see now how good Jrue Holiday is. Like, Jrue Holiday, having Middleton on their team is great, but Jrue Holiday is now the second best person on their team.
You're right.
Eric Bledsoe can't hold a candle to Jrue Holiday. Defense and scoring, he can truly lead. He's a big point guard. He can shut you down. You can put him on Jimmy Butler, and Jimmy. While I'm not gonna sit up there and say that you're gonna shut Jimmy Butler down because he is a great player, Jimmy Butler is not a scorer. He has streaks. Jimmy Butler is a leader. So and of course you look at the Nets. I think they're good. They're gonna be good. But Kyrie and Kevin, those are not alpha males. I'm sorry, they betas.
Absolutely.
They betas. They're not gonna make it to the finals. I don't even think they're gonna make it to the conference finals. I'm gonna be honest.
Imagine having Jrue Holiday guarding Kyrie and Giannis guarding KD.
What you mean imagine? That's what's gonna happen.
I know, and I'm just saying it is not gonna be as pretty as people think it's gonna be. Them
No.
boys can play some D. And we ain't even talking about Chris Middleton as far as defense goes.
Hmm.
He can play some pretty good defense himself. So not only can you do, now you can switch everything too. When
And
you
he
have
don't have.
Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, and Giannis on the court, you can literally switch everything.
Yeah. And who else did they pick up? Didn't they get signed somebody else that's valuable to that team? I can't remember if it was or not. Anyways, but I like that pickup. That pickup alone, I think, makes the Bucks the favorite again coming out of the East. Um, I like the Sixers. You know, they signed who did they sign? They signed Dwight Howard.
Mm.
While I would have loved for Dwight Howard to stay with the Lakers, I think that was a really good signing for them. Add some defense to their team. It's a center that truly backs up Embiid.
Mm-hmm.
Al Horford wasn't a good fit for that team,
Right.
so I like that signing for them. I like the biggest piece for them was a coach though. I like Doc Rivers being the coach.
Absolutely.
I like 76ers. Who else?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm very, very excited about the New Orleans Pelicans. Um, looking at them, and I'm not talking about
Yeah,
in the immediate future, like next year.
yeah, I
I'm
like
talking
them in the
about
future.
in
Yeah,
years to come.
yeah, okay.
And I even think they can compete this year. Looking at their team signing Steven Adams, you kind of shored up something that was been the biggest issue for y'all, which is not having a center in that defensive presence to go along with Zion Williamson. So won't be asked to do as much as far as rebounding and stuff like that. I mean, you Brandon Ingram, you sign him to the max. I think he's coming into his own. I think New Orleans was the perfect fit for him as far as that goes. You re-sign Derek Favors, you bring him back, comfortable in the offense.
Derek Favors, I read he was signed at Utah. He went back to Utah.
Well, if that's the case, that was the wrong. No, he went back to the Pelicans.
Maybe I read that wrong. Go ahead, keep talking. I'm gonna look it up.
But I mean, neither here nor there. Having Lonzo Ball, adding Eric Bledsoe, having the guys coming off the bench, some of the younger guys like Nikhil Alexander Walkers. I think that's how you say it. Just having a lot of young guys, I think will do well for the Pelicans. I can see them. They got a lot of first round draft picks and doing a lot. I think David Griffin's doing some really good things there, man. I see them on the rise. I definitely do.
Yeah, I definitely see him on the rise. They were right knocking on the door to make the playoffs this year, and they that was with them not having Zion really playing. Yeah, Derek Favors not on the roster no more with the Pelicans. He with Utah. He re-signed with Utah.
Okay.
But I think I mean it makes sense because they wouldn't have signed Steven Adams if they still had Derek Favors. But but Steven Adams replacing Derek Favors, I think, is a better pickup because he's more defensive minded. They need a defensive presence on their team because they didn't have a defensive presence. Derek Favors is not a defensive presence. He can score as a big man, but they don't need a big man to score. They need a big man that can clog up the lane, get rebounds, and fight down low. And that's what they get with Steven Adams. So right. I agree. They probably be a playoff team. They probably be a playoff team this year, But I'm more excited about them in the future, like you said. And I feel like they got some real good pieces.
Yeah. You were absolutely correct. I actually had that completely backwards because I don't know why I was thinking Derek Favors was actually on the Pelicans this past year. Yeah. I thought that was a big signing for him going back to the Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
Actually, I thought that was a really good signing for the Utah Jazz to give Rudy Gobert some minutes off the bench, and he plays really good defense. I think that'll benefit that team. I really don't think he should have ever left, but of course, I think he went after the money. But I think that's definitely a better fit for him, and it actually helps the Utah Jazz. I think they'll be a little bit more competitive this year, and Derek Favors back.
Yeah, I agree. Miami Heat, they signed Avery Bradley. While I like Avery Bradley as a player, I don't like him no more as a player. I like him as a player, like what he does.
Where's he gonna fit in at?
I mean, Avery Bradley can fit in on any team. He's a 3-and-D guy. He plays defense. He can shoot the three. And while they got Hero and they got Duncan Robinson and they got Jay Crowder, they had Iguodala had a lot of minutes. I'm not sure if Iguodala is still there. Maybe he takes up those minutes because he's a better player than Iguodala right now in his career. So, I think that made them better on the defensive end, but I don't really think it did anything to help their chances of winning. They didn't really sign anybody that was that's going to make them better there. And Gordon Hayward, man, you talk about every now and then there comes a player, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, who gets paid and you never understand why they're getting paid. And Gordon Hayward is that person. Now, when he left Utah to go to Boston, I thought he was good. Didn't think he was a max player, but I understood why he got the contract because, he led the Utah Jazz. They were a playoff team. He was the leader of the team. He put up points. He was good. Never thought he was going to be number one player on the team to win the championship, but hey, people get max contracts. But after all his injuries and being mediocre with the Celtics, now I know they had weapons and didn't need him to do a lot, but 80 million that he signed for?
40 million a year.
Oh my God. Michael Jordan.
Tripping.
Michael Jordan is one of those people who he is great at the game, but it doesn't seem like he can evaluate it as great as he is. His evaluation process does not seem to be as good because he has made some of the biggest mistakes as a GM that any GM has ever made. I say biggest mistakes, but I really don't want to say it, but the truth is, dumb is the word I should be using. He's made some of the dumbest, stupidest mistakes I've ever seen a GM make, and I hate that, but it is what it is. But Gordon Hayward got all this money. I know they signed LaMelo Ball. They got him in the draft. I don't know what they think Gordon Hayward going to do for that team. They got Terry Rozier. They got, what's her boy name? Devontae Graham. Gordon Hayward, my hope for Gordon Hayward is that he start off cheap on fantasy so I can play him the first couple games and then he kill it because he probably gonna put up some points, but he's not gonna do anything to win you any games. Anyways, I feel like we've been on this NBA for too long for all y'all that came to listen to some football, some daily fantasy. So let's go ahead and jump on that. So let's go ahead and start the first game. I'm on the wrong thing. So I'm looking at the games for Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so I got to go back to the right games. We're not going to talk about the Thanksgiving games, y'all. We're going to go straight to Sunday's games, the main slate. Go ahead, cuz.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, while you pulling it up, I'll go ahead and kick it off with the Raiders and Falcons.
All right. Yeah, go ahead.
As far as my picks on the Raiders and Falcons, I really like this game. I like this game as a stack. I don't know if Julio Jones is going to be available. That's something you want to keep an eye on because if he's not available, you definitely want to look at Russell Gage and Calvin Ridley, maybe with a stack with Matt Ryan and even Todd Gurley. I love Darren Waller. Love Darren Waller absolutely this game. Love him a lot. Derek Carr, I'm big on Derek Carr and I'm big on Josh Jacobs. I really don't know as far as the wide receivers for the Raiders. It's kind of a guess and go game. You never know who's going to do the most, but you know for a fact he's going to throw the ball to Darren Waller. So I can see a stack with this game with either Derek Carr or okay, I lost my train of thought. Matt Ryan to go with along with like a Calvin Ridley or even the Josh Jacobs, putting Josh Jacobs in there. He's had a couple of good games, so he's probably going to be priced up a little bit. Todd Gurley, Russell Gage, stacking those guys. I think this is a game that you can definitely stack. I think it's going to be high scoring.
Yeah, I think this is a good game just to stack. It is. I think the Raiders are slated to score like 29 or 30 points or something like that. Josh Jacobs is a little high for me, 7,200 on DraftKings. I like better options, but I think he's a really good play. I'll stay away from Julio. He was going in and out of the game. His hamstring has been an issue all year, and I would just stay away from him because even if he does play, you don't know what's going to happen. He could get hurt again, and he's at a good play. He's at a good value. So if you're okay with knowing that he may come out the game, 6,500 is a very good value for him in DraftKings. As far as the other Falcons, I agree with you. Russell Gage, I would throw Omar Zaccheaus in there. I think his name is Omar, but his last name is Zaccheaus. He'll get plenty of run. with Julio Jones being out because Russell Gage is already a starter, so he'll get plenty of run. And when Ridley was out last game and Omar Zakia started, he actually outpaced Russell Gage and had a deep touchdown, had about 4 or 5 targets, I think, and he scored, about 26 fantasy points. So definitely somebody to pay attention to. Derek Carr, I like him this game. I don't know how much I'm gonna get to him. He's very cheap on FanDuel. I mean, on DraftKings, he's 5,500, I think. The reason why I say I don't know if I'm going to play him is because when you look at Derek Carr, he plays great as a NFL quarterback, but his fantasy production is just not there. So I'm gonna go through every game this year with Derek Carr. Week 1, I'm going to start week 1, and everything else is going up from week 1 to last game. 13.6, 22.7, 17.4, 24.4, 28.0, 20.3, 12.5, 15.0, 7.2, 22.6. It's a reason why he's 5,500. For daily fantasy, Derek Carr is a tournament play.
Right.
And he's cheap, so if you think he's gonna give you about 24 to 26, 27 points, go with him because that allows you to have some extra money. But me, I don't know how much I'm gonna play Derek Carr. As far as Waller, I'm with you. I love him. 6,000 is pretty hefty, but I think he's worth it with the tight end selection being so terrible. Oh, tight end is so terrible. And I like Aguilar. I know that it tends to be a kind of a just pick him who's going to get the ball, but I think Aguilar is the person. I think he really is the person. And the reason why I say Aguilar is the person is because I think Aguilar has been the most consistent receiver. Last game he received 9 targets. The game before that 4, then 3, then 2, and then 9 again. And one of those games was against Cleveland when it was like terrible weather and they just wasn't throwing the ball. So I think when he got the 9 targets the first game, that's when he really started getting targets. So I like Aguilar against this Atlanta defense. Other than that,
I agree. I agree with you on that, bro. Now that you mentioned it, Aguilar has seemed to become his number 1 receiver.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and go to Tennessee and Indiana. Who you like, man?
I don't like this. I don't like nobody from this game. Absolutely nobody. I mean, well, let me rephrase that. I don't like anybody for the Titans. Not even Derrick Henry this week. I know he can have a good game, but against that Colts defense, I'm staying away from Titans. I love Michael Pittman Jr. I love the target share that I saw. It seemed like Phillip Rivers and T.Y. Hilton is starting to get a little bit of a connection going. Seem to target him a little bit more in this most recent game. I watched it, and I think they're starting to. He's getting hot. And I think he's starting the chemistry, and I think T.Y. Hilton is not getting as much attention now that Michael Pittman is back. So I mean, I like Michael Pittman. I also like T.Y. Hilton, but I'm gonna be honest with you. The person I love the most for the Colts, I love Jonathan Taylor. His usage, what I saw them do with him last week, I was very impressed, and he looked good.
Yeah, Colts. I only like Michael Pittman. Maybe Phillip Rivers, because he can have a 300-something yard game with 2 or 3 touchdowns. But outside of that, I just like Michael Pittman. I don't like T.Y. Hilton. I don't like Jonathan Taylor because the backfield has been inconsistent. He finally had his good game, but Nyheim Hines had a good game the week before that, and he was running the ball. A couple weeks before that, it was Jordan Wilkins. They're not about to stop the touches that those running backs are getting. So I don't trust the backfield situation. It's almost similar, not quite, but it's similar to me. It's similar to the Rams situation, in my opinion. People still see Jonathan Taylor as a number 1 back, but he's really not the number 1 back. They don't have a number 1 back.
They ran with him a lot more this week. This week, he got the most carries that he did all year. He had 22 carries. And that's one of the promising things that I saw about him. Getting late in the season, when it's starting getting cold, you tend to want to go with your big backs. Even Nyheim Hines, them this week, they caught a lot of passes, but they didn't get a lot of run out of backfield. I mean, the 22 carries he had was by far, except a couple of games, the most rushing attempts he's had this year.
So I have to see it again because I believe it was less.
And I agree.
And stuff. I think it was more game script against Aaron Rodgers. You want to keep the ball out of his hands, and the running game was working, and Jordan, and Jonathan Taylor was getting his yards. So I think that was strictly game script. But we'll see. We'll see what happens next week. On the Tennessee side, I like Derrick Henry. You know, the Indianapolis Colts defense is not bad, but it's not a shutdown defense. Derrick Henry had 103 yards on the ground against him. If he had a touchdown, then he would have had a good fantasy day. He could easily get you 2 touchdowns on the ground. And I like Derrick Henry. I think he's going to be low on. He's definitely a GPP play. But I also like Corey Davis. People sleeping on Corey Davis. Corey Davis is 4,900 on DraftKings. Let me go through his last 5 games. 5 catches on 7 targets for 113 yards. Next, the game before that, 5 catches on 67 yards on 6 targets. The game before that, 0 catches, 3 targets. Then 8 catches, 128 yards, a touchdown, 10 targets. Then 6 catches, 35 yards, a touchdown, 10 targets. Then he missed 3 games. And then the 3 games that he played before that, 5 catches, 69 yards, 6 targets, 3 catches, 36 yards, 1 touchdown, 7 catches, 101 yards. This kid should not be $4,900. I don't know why Corey Davis is $4,900 on DraftKings. I don't know if FanDuel have him equivalent, but as far as like maybe 5,000 something or 6,000 something, but 4,900 is too cheap.
6,000 exactly, actually.
4,900 is too cheap for Corey Davis against a team that you can throw against. As a matter of fact, let me see, against Indianapolis, which they played, he had 5 catches on 6 targets for 67 yards, which wasn't great, but he could easily get away for a touchdown. So I like Corey Davis. Not as much AJ Brown. He's questionable, so you want to pay attention to AJ Brown. His price is up there at 6,700. But outside of that, I don't like anybody else. I don't like Tannehill. So yeah. Next game. I like this game. Arizona and New England. I'm gonna let you go first though. I like this game.
Arizona and New England. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I love it too. I mean, how can you not love that game? Of course, I love the 2 quarterbacks, Kyler Murray and Cam Newton, DeAndre Hopkins. Oh my God. And I mean, I'm starting to, the Patriots running game. I'm starting to kind of like Damian Harris. He has been looking very good. He has been very consistent, and I even, thought about playing him this week, but hearing the news that Sony Michel was coming back kind of threw me off of him. And I'm like, no, it didn't change anything. Dude still had a really good game. So I'm very impressed. Of course, I love the quarterbacks. I love DeAndre Hopkins, and I love Damian Harris. What I am watching to see is if Julian Edelman's coming back.
As of right now, he's still listed on IR, so they have not released him. That could simply be that they don't want to give away anything as far as him playing. If Julian Edelman comes back, I like this game less from the Patriots side. I'm actually hoping Julian Edelman does not come back. It says he will be. So today is the day that we could find out if he was coming back, but they hadn't released anything yet. He will be eligible to return on Wednesday, which is today. So let me tell you why. I like Daniel Byrd. You may call me a prisoner of the moment. Well, yes, I'm a prisoner of the moment. He killed it last week, but what I like about Daniel Byrd is that they have their full complement of receivers outside of Julian Edelman. They have N'Keal Harry. Jacoby Myers has shown that he's an NFL receiver, and Daniel Byrd is a deep threat. Why do I like Daniel Byrd also? Because he's playing against a team that didn't give him a chance, that let him go, that didn't, give him an opportunity to be the wide receiver that he's showing that he can be with the New England Patriots. And he's on the field for most snaps, running routes for most snaps. So I like Daniel Byrd, who's very inexpensive. I think he's $4,100. I like Cam Newton because he's going to have to throw the ball. The Patriots defense, they're not going to stop the Cardinals. They're not going to stop Kyler Murray. The only thing that I probably won't play DeAndre Hopkins simply because if there's going to be a person that Belichick tries to take away, that's the only person I think he can do. He's not going to take away Kyler Murray because Kyler Murray is just too impromptu with his legs. He's going to move the ball with his legs. They're just not going to be able to stop it. It's not like Lamar Jackson where they do a lot of runs on purpose. He gets a lot of his yards when he just chooses to run on his own. So Christian Kirk is definitely in play for me. I like Christian Kirk as a pivot to DeAndre Hopkins. I don't like the running game for Arizona. I like Damian Harris. I do like him, but I probably won't go with him this week. Very little shares of him if I do decide to play Damian Harris. So the people I like the most in this game, Daniil Bird, Christian Kirk. Is that his name? Christian Kirk?
Yeah.
Yeah, Christian Kirk. I love Cam Newton and I love Kyler Murray at the quarterback position this week. But if I had to choose, I would pick Kyler Murray because his ceiling is so high.
Right.
Cleveland against Jacksonville. Man, so when I said earlier that I liked other running backs, this game is one of the games I like for running backs. On the Cleveland side, I like Kareem Hunt because Kareem Hunt is $5,600 on DraftKings. Nick Chubb is $7,100, and they tend to have pretty identical games regardless of what type of the production it is. So, not week 10, they both had right over 100 yards rushing with very similar touches. Then this past week, Kareem Hunt didn't do nothing on the ground, but he had 2 touchdowns. And Nick Chubb ran for over 100 yards. So they had very similar point totals. So I feel like every week they both are going to put up points. And if I got to choose 5,600 over 71, I'm going to go with 5,600 all day. So I like Kareem Hunt on DraftKings. I don't know what it is on FanDuel, if there's any discrepancy.
I mean,
but it's a big difference. Big difference in DraftKings.
He's 6,600. I mean, it's a pretty big difference. But the thing is, in reality, he's 6,600, but he only put up 8 points last week, 14 the week before, and 8 the week before that. He only had 1 touchdown. He had 1 target, 1 reception for 10 yards. He had 11 rushes for 13 rushes for rushing attempts, and he only had 1 rushing touchdown. He had 8.6 points.
Oh, they must have took a touchdown back because I could have swore it showed 2 touchdowns. And I didn't look at the stats, but that doesn't really change anything about
it. Doesn't because, like I say, Nick Chubb only had 11.
Yeah.
So I mean, the point differential when you're talking about somebody that costs 8,400 versus 6,600, they only had a 3-point differential as far as points go. Yeah. Because Nick Chubb didn't get in his zone.
And it's against Jacksonville, which is the icing on the cake.
Right.
As far as the wide receivers, I don't like anything outside of running back for Cleveland, and I probably won't all year because Baker Mayfield's the one throwing the ball. But on Jacksonville, so this is the thing. I love James Robinson because of the volume that he's going to get, and he's going against Cleveland, which is they're playing good football, but you can run the ball on them. But he gets passes in the backfield as well. I mean, passes out of the backfield. The only thing that kind of makes me hesitant this week is that they have another new quarterback. Mike Glennon is going to be starting this week, which may be a good thing because Mike Glennon has, he's been a decent backup. He's definitely probably going to be better than Luton. But that's the only thing that's kind of making me hesitant because you never know how much he's going to throw the ball to Robinson out of the backfield. He may not throw him the ball. And if you're just dependent on him running, I don't like James Robinson. So that's a question mark for me. But outside of that, I don't like nobody else but James Robinson if I play him.
And I agree with you 100% on that. I like DJ Chark a little bit. But the James Robinson play for me depends on if Myles Garrett is playing this week. That defense seems to be a lot more stout at the running game when he's on the field. He didn't play this past week, and you could see the difference with him being out of the lineup. I'm not sure if he'll be out this week. I think it may have been COVID related. I'm not 100% sure. But if he's on the field, I'm not real big on James Robinson either. And it's basically what you said about the quarterback situation. I don't think he stops it, but I think with the quarterback situation, they're going to load up the box and look to stop him and make Mike Glennon throw the ball.
Well, I think they did that with Luton. I mean, James Robinson really just shows that he can get the yards regardless. Because with Luton playing these last 3 games, he had 99 against Houston rushing yards, 109 against Green Bay, and 73 against Pittsburgh, which is a better run defense than Cleveland. I think the thing that like I said, the one thing that makes me not want to play him, and I just have to make a decision, is will he get passes out of the backfield? because that's where his value really came in with Minshew. And he hadn't been getting as many passes with Luton. He got 2 the first game with Luton played. He got 5 targets the second game, and then he only got 2 targets his last game. Maybe Mike Glennon gives him more targets. If that's the case, then he's going to be very valuable this weekend.
Right.
Miami versus the Jets. So last week I said I was big on the Broncos defense because this game Tua was going to struggle, and I was 100% accurate. I was more accurate than I thought I was going to be. He was so bad they took his ass out the game. This game, I think the opposite. I think Tua is going to bounce back because he has to. He does not have a choice. He made a comment that so far everything was easy right before the Broncos game. Then they showed him how easy it was in the NFL.
Right.
And now this is the perfect game for him to get his mind right and come back and play well. So I do like Tua because he's cheap and he's playing against the worst team in the NFL, the New York Jets. Tua is 5,900, good price. It's showing he's questionable right now.
Yes, he got hurt last game.
So I will say this: it's his thumb. So if he's not playing for any reason, lock in Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick, baby. Ryan Fitzpatrick. That's what I was thinking.
Lock him in without a doubt. He will be in my tournament lineups and in my cash game lineups. No questions asked. And if he is playing, if Fitzpatrick is playing, I love Devontae Parker.
Well, something's going on because on FanDuel, Ryan Fitzpatrick is actually priced higher than Tua.
Not here.
So
DraftKings, Ryan Fitzpatrick is 5,500 and Tua is 59.
Yeah, they got Ryan Fitzpatrick at 7,400 and they got Tua at 6,800. So FanDuel knows something we don't know yet.
Yeah, because Ryan Fitzpatrick last week probably was like at the minimum because he wasn't starting.
Right.
But yeah, so be paying attention to that because I will. I like Devontae Parker. Even if Tua's playing, I like Devontae Parker. Jakeem Grant is a great value, because Preston Williams is out. And Jakeem Grant is taking the number 2 receiver role, and he's been actually doing pretty good. But the only reason why he probably is not higher is because Tua has not really been great at throwing the ball just yet. But if Ryan Fitzpatrick is playing, that probably changes. So Jakeem Grant is definitely going to be on my radar if Ryan Fitzpatrick is playing. And Savion Ahmed, I love that dude. I like him better than Myles Gaskin. I feel like they got a decision to make when Myles Gaskin come back because Savion Ahmed, the running back, he's catching the ball out the backfield. The first game, they didn't use him out the backfield to catch passes. But the second game, I think people thought that Breida was going to be like part of the mix, especially in the air. Nope. Savion Ahmed was their everything. Mm-hmm. He was their 3-down back, and he is still dirt cheap. Savion Ahmed right now is 5,100. He had only 43 yards out of the backfield, but he had 6 targets. So that was against the Denver defense and them struggling. Remember, he ran for 85 yards against the Chargers. I got it right that time. I said the Chargers without saying Clippers.
Kudos. And I think that's the first time this year.
It is the first time. And he's going against the Jets. So I like Savion Ahmed, another one of those running backs that I think is really cheap. Jets, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I like some plays on the Jets this week because of their price. Brashard Perriman, he had like 4 targets. He caught a touchdown, and I liked him. I played him last week. Devin Mims, he had like 8 targets. He had like 3 pass interference calls. I watched that game. He had like 3 deep pass interference calls. He has the I saw a stat. He is right behind Mike Williams in air yardage, and he missed several games this year. Right. That's what missing several games. He's right behind Mike Williams in air yards, so he is getting opportunities. With Sam Darnold coming back, I don't know how that looks if Sam Darnold comes back, but Mims is just 3,500 on DraftKings. He is almost the minimum, so I can't pass that up. When you got somebody being so targeted. And he's very talented. Like, I don't know if you've seen him play, but he's
I got him on one of my teams.
A big receiver, and he can catch. He can run routes well. So I like Devin Mims and I like Brashard Perriman. If Darnold comes back though, I like Jamison Crowder more than Perriman.
Yeah. Well, this week I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I said, I love Ahmed. Depending if Ryan Fitzpatrick play and he's the starter, I absolutely love Devontae Parker. I
Mhm.
mean, that's a big love. On the other side, as far as the Jets, I'm not real keen on the Jets this week. That Dolphins defense to me is serious. They are for real. And I feel like they rushed the passer very well, which won't bode well for the Jets. I don't like any of the receivers. I don't really like any plays for the Jets this week because of that Dolphins defense, man. They are really good. They're 6-4 because of that defense.
Do you think the defense is so? What do you think the point total for the Jets will be?
You want me to give you like a game total for the whole game?
Not a game total, just the Jets total.
Jets, I can see the Jets having 14,
And
10.
what do you think the Dolphins total will be?
I see that being a 21-10 game, 24 to
Okay.
14 game.
So if you think that the game is going to be 21-10, then that makes sense not to play any Jets. But I think the Jets are. I mean, I think the Dolphins could put up about 30 points, and if they put up 30 or more points, the Jets are going to throw the ball. And if they throw the ball, whether they pick up touchdowns or not, those yards are going to somebody. And they probably will score more if the Dolphins put up 30 or more points, simply because that's just how the game script go. You get late in the game, they start playing that nickel defense, get the nickel package out there. They just let them have what's underneath, and they throwing the ball short. You get those yards, and you moving the ball down the field. You get a touchdown. It could be anybody. Most likely, it's going to be the people he's throwing the ball to normally. So I think that the Dolphins are going to put up points, 30 or more, and because of that, that's why I like one or two of those pass catchers, only to run it back with or to save. So, for example, if I'm going to play Fitzpatrick and Parker, and I think the game is going to be, the game script is going to be that the Dolphins are going to like put up points, then I'll run it back maybe with Crowder. But if I just want to get some savings, I'll just play Mims in a one-off on another lineup because he's so cheap. But either way, I think I'm going to have a couple of Jets in my lineup simply because of the value is just too great, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just
But yeah,
when I look at the value for them, especially in FanDuel, like if I had to choose, I just like people better. I look at the price of even Mims is the cheapest one at 5,600, but I also see several people that I kind of like, T.Y. Hilton, Demir Bird, N'Keal Harry, Kendrick Bourne, Russell Gage, Nelson Aguilar. I see people cheaper than him that I like a whole lot more.
that's
You
in,
know,
that's in FanDuel. You got to also play to
right,
the pricing of the site that you're using, because none of
right,
those
right, right.
players are even close to the price of Mims or even Brashad Perriman, because Brashad
Yeah,
Perriman is
and
like 4,300. So
Yeah, and let's be clear. When I say most of the time when we're talking for our audience to know, a lot of the things that Capel is talking about is DraftKings. I'm talking FanDuel. So things can change based on pricing because the pricing is definitely different between the two sites. So much of the fact to where, like you just said, how cheap he is, definitely it's a no brainer. But when you got as many people as I just named in FanDuel that's cheaper than him, there's definitely better plays. So y'all keep that in mind also when we talk about this. He's more talking about DraftKings. I'm more talking about FanDuel.
yeah, and just if you DraftKings, just to let you like just to put this out there, just the value in that game for a receiver. Denzel Mims, I said Devon. Denzel Mims is 3,500. Jakeem Grant is 3,700. Rashad Perriman is
Wow.
4,200. Like
Wow.
the value is there for you if you want to put together a squad that has high priced players. So just keep that in mind
What
when
is
you
the minimum cost in DraftKings, bro?
for a receiver. The minimum is 3,000,
Got you. So I'm like,
and for a
wow.
running back is 4,000. So
Wow.
those three, that value is, I mean,
They're
it's
almost all at the minimum.
yeah. Next, the Giants, the New York Football Giants, and the Cincinnati Bengals. So I'm telling you now, I don't like any Cincinnati Bengals. I
Me
don't.
neither.
I only liked them when they had Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow is no longer playing. And this will tell you, it's crazy to me how teams have a backup quarterback, and then the quarterback get hurt, and then they go get another person to start over the backup. They went and signed Brandon Allen to start over Finley, and Finley is the backup on the team. Why is he your backup if
Right.
you don't have any confidence in, or like if he's a rookie and you feel like he's not good enough to play right now because he's still learning, but he wasn't a good, like Joe Burrow's a rookie, but this guy's just not that good, then maybe you should already have 3 quarterbacks on your roster. That way he could be the third string.
Right.
And then you have your second string already ready to go. Like, I don't even understand the logic behind that. But anyways, Brandon Allen, they just signed him, and I got the update saying that they're anticipating starting him. He's probably going to be the starter. So I definitely don't like any Cincinnati Bengals. If you want to go out and play Brandon Allen at dirt cheap 4,800, go ahead. I played PJ Walker last week for 4,900, and of course everybody played Taysom Hill, and they both was good plays. But we had a sample of PJ Walker with the XFL. Mm-hmm. And I felt like playing against Detroit was a very good matchup because they don't have a good defense. Giants have a good defense, So I'm not playing around with no Cincinnati Bengals. But what I do like is Daniel Jones. Mm-hmm. Daniel Jones been running that ball. Like the last few games, he's had the last 5 games, 74 yards, 92 yards, 20 yards, 4 yards, and 64 yards. He's been running the ball. Mm-hmm. And so I like Cincinnati is terrible on defense. So I like Daniel Jones. He's 5,500. If I had to choose between my cheap quarterback picks, with Derek Carr being in there, with Tua being in there, Phillip Rivers is probably close to that. I'm not sure. I didn't look at the price. I'll have to go with Daniel Jones. Now, unless Fitzpatrick is playing, then
right.
But Daniel Jones, I think, has a great matchup. I think he's going to be low owned, very good for a tournament play. And with him, I like Evan Ingram because he's been throwing about Evan Ingram all year. Excuse me. And I don't think that stops with this game. And I like Wayne Gallman a little bit too. I ain't gonna lie.
That's my play. I love this game. You named the exact 3 people that I love in this game. I love Wayne Gallman. I love Daniel Jones. And bruh, I don't even want to begin to describe how much I love Evan Ingram this week. I was literally, before we started the show, they were talking about it on Fantasy Live on how Evan Ingram, how many targets he's getting, and he's coming. He is coming, and this is the perfect game in the perfect situation. Keep in mind that who's the guy for the Browns, that tight end that everybody got kind of high on for that 1 week, had 3 touchdowns. Oh boy,
Butler, I think his name Harrison.
No, Harrison. Yeah, Harrison. Yeah. It was Harrison. That was against the Bengals.
Yeah.
So this is the prime time. This is the game where we'll probably see Evan Ingram. I could easily see him with 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I love him this week.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna be all over Evan Ingram. I mean, I got him from both of my fantasy leagues, so I'm hoping that he get that because for my regular daily fan.
Yeah, and I got Gallman.
But
so
I like Gallman. I like Gallman because Gallman has been slowly killing it. 16, 13, 14, 19 fantasy points. He's only $5,000 on DraftKings. He's gonna be chalky, but he's gonna be good chalk because he's gonna get a lot of arm touches. And I think he's catching the ball out the backfield too. Not as much. Nah.
Don't really have to because he's running the ball so well and he's getting all the goal line touches. That's the thing. He's had a touchdown in 4 consecutive games.
Well, those targets do matter in
no, I'm not saying it. I'm saying even if he doesn't get the targets out the backfield, he's still worth a play just because of his red zone touches.
Yeah,
I mean,
I got you.
He's just a perfect play.
Yeah, he is. I agree.
In 5,700 on FanDuel, so not much of a price discrepancy between DraftKings and FanDuel.
That's crazy. I'm so surprised that the price is like that. Is Devontae Adams supposed to be? Devontae Freeman supposed to be coming back or something? Did I miss something? Because I don't understand why his price is so low. Let me check this real quick.
No, he's still on IR.
But is he supposed to be coming back? Because he's been eligible. Nope, he's not coming back. Nope, he's not. Okay. It just didn't make sense to me why, but it is what it is. All right, so next game. This is probably the most popular game on the slate. The Chargers against the Bills. The Los Angeles Chargers against the Buffalo Bills. I love this game along with everybody else for very obvious reasons, but I'll let you go ahead and go and talk about it.
Me. Look, as far as this game goes, I mean, this is one of those games like we talked about the other one. This is a stat game. I don't like. I'm big on Mike Williams again this week, and I think it's because Tre'Davious White's going to be guarding Keenan Allen. I think Mike Williams is going to be more of a high. Let's be clear. Keenan Allen's still going to get his targets, and he's going to get a bunch of them. But I think with Tre'Davious White, it'll allow Mike Williams to get her. He got a few targets in the last couple of games, and you can that Bills defense I think can be had. Another thing, I love Josh Allen. I mean, I like him a lot. That Chargers defense is not. It is nowhere near what it used to be, man. So Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen this week, hands down. I'm gonna have them probably in a few lineups, man. I love those two.
And this game is one of those games where you can close your eyes and pick the players, and they probably gonna give you what you need. Yeah. I like everybody. Like Mike Williams. The reason why Mike Williams is a good play has nothing to do with Tre'Davious White being guarded by Allen. The reason why he's a good play is because he's a good play. Because what's his name? Joshua Herbert?
Or Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert. He's not there yet where he's going to look at the team again he's playing against, and that the coach is going to game plan and say, you know what, we got this one-on-one matchup. We're going to go here today. We're going to focus on this. No, Justin Herbert is going to throw the ball to Allen. He's going to throw it to him. And Mike Williams is a good play because he's a good downfield threat, and he's going to throw the ball to him too. Justin Herbert's going to air that bitch out. Right. He's going to throw it 40, 45, 50 times. And in this game, he's going to have to, because the Bills are going to score at will because everybody else has scored at will. Hey, Joe Flacco was able to move the ball against the Chargers.
Exactly.
So I love Josh Allen. He's my number one quarterback this week. He's probably going to be in the majority of my lineups. I like John Brown. I like Stephon Diggs. I mean, to be honest with you, I probably would play more John Brown and Stephon Diggs because the last few weeks, John Brown has been getting just as much attention with balls thrown his way as Stephon Diggs. And the price on them is not much different. Let me go, and I think Cole Beasley kind of jumped in there and took a lot of targets this last game. They had a bye the game before. So Stephon Diggs has led in points, but Stephon Diggs has 10 to 12 targets, 10, 12, 9, 11 targets the last four games. And John Brown has 8 and 11. And the game before that, he had just came back from injury. So the last two games since he's been back from injury, he has 8 targets and 11 targets. He's 4,900 compared to Stephon Diggs, who's at like 76. Cole Beasley is even jumped in the mix now. He's had 13 targets last game, then 3 and 2, then 12. He's the one person that I'm probably going to stay away from because his price jumped up to 5,500. Cole Beasley was 4,700 last game, and now it's 55. So I probably won't pay Cole Beasley. Wow. But John Brown is 4,900. John Brown was 40. He's 4,800. He was 5,300. John Brown was 5,300 their last game against Arizona. He had 6 catches for 72 yards and 8 targets, and he went down to 4,800. I don't understand that, but I will be playing some John Brown because Josh Allen is going to throw it to him, and
I like Cole Beasley.
Not for 5,500.
Yeah, well, I know. I think I called him last week too, saying I liked him. And it turned out to be well, but
I don't know. But for 40 when he was 4,700, great, but not 5,500.
He cheap in FanDuel. 5,400 in FanDuel is pretty cheap.
That's if he's 5,400. I don't know what
he
is in FanDuel.
No, that's what I'm saying. No, he is 5,400. He's the cheap out of the Buffalo Bills, was cheapest by at least $300. I think John Brown is 5,700, and of course, Stephon Diggs is up there a little bit. So,
and Keenan Allen is 8,000, but he worth every penny, and every bit of it. A lot of Keenan Allen in my lineups. Hunter Henry is also a good play. I gotta finally give him his props because he played well last game. I know I was kind of shitting on him about his play as a tight end. He had 14 points. When Hunter Henry, to me, at some point should have had 3 or 4 games where he was in the 20s. And even with 14 points, you needed that because it was such a terrible group of tight ends to choose from. But still, like when you gonna have a game that you capable of having, Hunter Henry, like when you gonna have a 7 catch game for 100 yards and a touchdown, when you gonna have a 2 touchdown game, like when you gonna have that, you got every bit of talent to do it, and that's why I be kind of like low on him because I can get 14 points from Jordan Akins from the Texans who costs 2,900. But anyways, Hunter Henry is a good play. Hunter Henry is a good play. Carolina and Minnesota, who you like?
Oh man, I'm gonna be honest with you. Carolina and Minnesota. I'm 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 tired because I don't know if Teddy Bridgewater is gonna play or not. They said he's on track to play. It looked like he is on track to play, and if he is on track to play, I definitely love Curtis Samuel and I like DJ Moore. Them two seem to be kind of coming together as their two main offensive weapons, in my opinion. Anyway, the Vikings, I love Justin Jefferson, bro, especially with Adam Thielen possibly not playing this week, being on the COVID-19 list. I love Justin Jefferson, and Dalvin Cook. I mean, Dalvin Cook is a love every week. I mean, as long as if Dalvin Cook is playing, he is to me like a must play, especially against the Panthers defense.
Is he 10,000 yet?
Let's see here. I think he was 10,000 last week. He was actually. Yeah, he's 11,000 now.
Yeah, he's 9,500 on DraftKings.
Yeah, he was 10,000 last week.
I might have to think about it. He's not a lock when they that priced up that high, which I'm glad they do it because it makes you have to really make decisions and kind of evaluate what you want to do. So it's not like everybody can lock him in. But yeah, I got to think about playing him at 9,500. I like those Carolina Panthers you named. I like them with PJ Walker or Bridgewater. PJ Walker showed me last week that he could do it too. Right. Curtis Samuel had a great game. DJ Moore had a great game. Robbie Anderson didn't have a good game, but I think I don't think he passed the ball as much as Bridgewater would have. Right. So that's more reason to, like which one of these receivers you want to choose. I feel like Curtis Samuel is the one to lock in though because he's become a favorite target from both of them.
And he's getting balls out there. He's running the ball.
And I think it has a lot to do with the kind of routes he runs. He doesn't. He runs a lot of short routes. Right. So I like Curtis Samuel. I like DJ Moore, and I'm sticking with those two simply because those are the ones that did good last week. But I don't think Robbie Anderson is a bad play as well. I would say go with the cheapest ones between DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson. But I think Curtis Moore is the one that you can lock in for sure, and he's also the cheapest. So. Not really big on Mike Davis. I know Christian McCaffrey's not playing again, but Mike Davis is just not. He just slowed down. Even
Curtis Samuel, like I said, Curtis Samuel
he had a touchdown last game, and he didn't play bad. Like you look at Mike Davis for what he had cost. I think he was like 6,400 at 15 fantasy points. It's not bad, But I just think it's better plays to get you what he's giving you. So that's why I'm not on him. Minnesota side. I think Thielen gonna be able to play because he's out right now because of being around somebody. And
I hadn't read the report. They said they didn't know if he contracted it or if he was just around somebody who had it. So I wasn't real sure.
Yeah, he's on the. Oh no, I'm lying. It said he tested positive. This came out. What's today? The 25th? Oh, today. It came out today.
Yeah.
He tested positive. Initially, they was. I guess it was what you said. I thought I read that he was on the list because he was around somebody, but he actually tested positive. So he probably won't be available. It says they're evaluating the situation. It's possible another test may be a false negative. So it's still possible he may play.
Right.
But I'm with you, Justin Jefferson all day. If Thielen is not playing, if Thielen is playing though, they both like good plays.
I was gonna say I still like him.
But I'm always like Thielen over Jefferson if they both playing because on number one they both very similarly priced. Justin Jefferson is 63 and Thielen is 68. I don't know about FanDuel, but DraftKings they're very similarly priced. And Adam Thielen is when they're in the red zone,
they look to him.
At Thielen.
Right.
Like so, it's almost like a running back getting the touches, within the 5 yard line, getting the goal line touches. So I'm always going to like Thielen more. But if they're not playing, but if he's not playing, Justin Jefferson is going to be a lock in a lot of my lineups.
Right.
Baltimore and Pitt, the game that was moved to Sunday because two players tested positive, which were Mark Ingram and J.K. Dobbins. I anticipate that they still may not be playing on Sunday because they tested positive. If they're not playing, Gus Edwards is a good play.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why Gus Edwards is a good play is because he's the cheapest that you could possibly get. At least in DraftKings, he's minimum at $4,000 for a running back. And when they played the Pittsburgh Steelers last time, they ran all over them as a team. All over them.
Right.
And I don't think the game plan is going to change because they were very close to beating the Steelers. Many people think that they should have won that game. That the play calling was not up to par at the end of that game. So I like Gus Edwards this game. But that's all I like on the Baltimore side. Because Lamar just hasn't been Lamar, and he's still priced up like he's one of the top tier quarterbacks because of what he did last year. But he has yet to have a game like that this year.
Right, so right.
I'm not going to play Lamar. It's too much. I tell you who I will have like a few shares of. Dez Bryant. I'm going to have a few shares of Dez Bryant because he's dirt cheap. And you never know. I mean, he may look to Dez Bryant like he looked to Mark Andrews, a big body in the red zone for a touchdown or two, So I like Dez Bryant just for a couple of shares, but for the most part, I don't like anybody, not even Mark Andrews. I just like Gus Edwards.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to give a whole lot of input on this game. I don't know if they're going to change it or not, but as of now, that game is not on the slate for Sunday as far as FanDuel goes.
It's on DraftKings. They just probably had a chance. They probably had a chance to change it.
But right. But usually when it's already came out and people start building lineups, they usually don't tend to go and change it and add to it. So I'm kind of afraid with it being already Wednesday, almost Thursday, with that game going on, if they're going to even add them to the slate.
Yeah, they probably won't for FanDuel because DraftKings, they add stuff quick.
Right.
FanDuel probably won't, so that's probably true about FanDuel. They probably won't add it.
But just to kind of give an input on the game, I'm with you 100%. I love Gus Edwards. That's why I was looking for him to see what he was priced on FanDuel, and I come to find out nobody was available. I'm not real big on. This game is going to be it's going to be a slobber knocker, man. It's going to be defense. It's going to be bloody. It's going to be a lot of hard hitting game. So I'm not real high on anybody in this game besides Gus Edwards if he play. But other than that, it's just because I think the volume he'll get, and they're gonna score. So, that's pretty much all I like. I'm not real big on this game at all.
Yeah, if this game was being played, I would be big on it for tournaments because I feel like it's going to be a tough game, but I don't think that it's going to be a low scoring game. I think both teams are going to put up at least 20-something points. And I like Deontay Johnson, and I like Claypool. Schuster, to me, while he's listed as a number one receiver, he's been playing like a number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Johnson is the one that really is a possession receiver, but he's also the downfield threat. And Claypool is a target monster when they get in the red zone. And I like both of them in this game. So I like this game. Not my favorite game, but I think it's a game that you definitely can look at to target some important pieces that you can put in a GPP lineup. I don't like anything for cash. Right. Because like you said, it is one of those games where it's gonna be like hard nosed. And I never like any of these players for cash in these teams because they're too unpredictable.
Right.
With Pittsburgh, Ben Roethlisberger spreads the ball out so much, you never know where the targets are going. And then the Ravens, you don't know what's going to happen because only thing you know about the Ravens is Lamar Jackson going to give you at least 18, 19 fantasy points as a quarterback.
Right.
That's it. So it's not my favorite game, but GPP wise, I can definitely see me running a few players out.
Yeah, Juju done turned into Antonio Brown that last year he was at the Steelers.
Man, Juju,
bro, it was
I don't think it's his fault though. I think Ben Roethlisberger recognizes the weapons he has and he's spreading it around, which is what he should do, And
but it was kind of It was the same thing that he did with Antonio Brown. It wasn't that Antonio Brown, he wasn't just not looking for him. It's just they were doubling him. Juju was getting a lot of open one-on-one matchups. It was just match, and he spreaded the ball around then, even to the tight ends. So that's always been how Ben Roethlisberger's game.
Yeah. Next game, New Orleans and Denver. I tell you what, I like the Saints defense this week because Drew Lock is a turnover machine.
You.
And the Saints, man, they've been all over it. So I'm definitely going to be playing the Saints defense this week. I may find I don't do this a whole lot, but every now and then I like a defense so much that I lock them in everywhere. And I may lock in the Saints defense, depending on how much they cost, because I definitely don't like to spend too much money on my defense.
They are one of the top defenses on the slate, so believe you me, everybody else knows too.
They are here. They're like the third highest defense at 3,800.
Right.
But I may, depending on my build, I may still slide them in there. But I like to pay down on my defenses, so I probably won't lock them in. But I do like the defense because Drew Lock definitely turns the ball over. With the Saints, I like Taysom Hill again. I know a lot of people was like, well, that's the Falcons defense. Let me see it against a better defense. Okay, that's fine. I like this. I like Taysom Hill again this week. And I played him in quarterback last week. So FanDuel are the people that's gonna have to make a decision.
Right.
Because y'all didn't have that, y'all didn't have to make that decision last time. But a lot of people played him in DraftKings because he was cheap. Now he's priced up a little bit more at 6,200. So you got to make a decision on whether you want to spend that much. But I like him against Broncos because Broncos can be had. And I like Mike Thomas because Taysom Hill shown that he's definitely going to throw the ball to Mike Thomas. I just don't know about Kamara yet. He costs too much.
Well, in FanDuel, he actually went down in price.
He went down in price too, but he 8,200. That's still a lot.
Okay. Yeah, it is. And he 8,600 for in FanDuel, but it's actually not bad when you see a Nick Chubb, 8,600 for what he can do, but the last couple of weeks he hadn't been doing a lot. And I see he's questionable also, so it's a lot better value for cheaper at the position, so I agree with you on that one 100%.
I tend to run out about 7-8 lineups now. I stopped doing the 150s, and with 7 to 8 lineups, will I have at least one with Kamara in it? Yeah, I will. Mm-hmm. Because his ceiling is still 40-something. And after 1 week, I'm pretty sure they looked at the film and was like, we got to get Kamara more involved. Mm-hmm. This is our major weapon. Michael Thomas is not the major weapon. Right. Alvin Kamara is the major weapon. So he could very well be very involved and be very low owned, which is what you want. So I'm not going to not have him, but I'm not going all in on Alvin Kamara. Besides that, though, I don't like any Denver Broncos.
Me neither.
Like, I don't like any at all. I'm not touching them. San Francisco and Rams. As always, I'll let you go ahead and go first and talk about.
No, actually, I want to change it up a little bit this week. You go first.
Okay, I'll go first. I don't like any 49ers. They're playing against the Rams. Brandon Ayuk can't stay off the damn COVID list. What's wrong with him? Like, he don't know how to quarantine? Like, he back on the COVID list. He was on it once already, and now he's back on it again. Debo is questionable. He probably won't play. Nick Mullins, not a good quarterback. Your running back situation is still exactly the same. Heck, Jermichael Hasty is not even there no more. All you got is McKinnon. Tevin, what his name is, Tevin Coleman, he's questionable, but who cares? As soon as he step on the field, he gonna twist an ankle. Who cares? So, like, what is there to like about the 49ers right now, man? I'm not even trying to be funny. It's the truth. Y'all don't have nobody playing that you can look at and say, yeah, this gonna be a good value against a Rams defense. If you was playing against somebody else, then maybe. But against the Rams, nah. I don't like no 49ers this week. Yep. And the Rams, I don't like them either because the one thing that y'all have been doing pretty good this year is still playing decent defense. So I don't like this game at all.
Well, that's why I let you go first because I didn't want to have to say the inevitable. I'm just going to say I agree with you. But I didn't have to give the evaluation on how terrible my team is right now. That's why I let you go first. But I will say this.
You about to say what I was just about to jump in and say. I know it. Go ahead.
I actually like the Rams, and I like the Rams a lot. I love a stack of Jared Goff, Cooper
Well,
Kupp, and Robert Woods this week.
well, I wasn't gonna say the stack. I was gonna say I like Cooper Cup, and the reason why I like Cooper Cup, I like Robert Woods could have a good game too because the way that they used him was Robert Woods can have a good game, but the reason why I like Cooper Cup is because San Francisco is going to do something that's going to be very similar to Tampa Bay in how they put pressure on the quarterback, and I think San Francisco is going to still be able to put pressure on Jared Goff, and they use their short game, their passing game, as like a way to run the ball. Cooper Cup got a lot of short passes. A lot of his yards came after the catch. Robert Woods as well. So I can see why you like both, but I don't. I like Cooper Cup more because that's more Cooper Cup's game.
Yeah.
Robert Woods don't usually play like that, and he did have a game like that against the Bucks where he was catching short passes and getting runs. They was but that's not normally his game.
Yeah, I kind of feel like they've decided to change their game plan up and get the ball out quick, especially against a defense that can rush. Because the 15 targets from Robert Woods and the 13 from Cooper Kupp, I think they made it a point to get them the both balls short and get it out of Jared Goff's hands pretty quick because of that front seven. And against the 49ers, I don't see no reason to change that game plan. And they are cheap. They're both 1,6,800, 1,6,700 on FanDuel. So I mean, to get both of them at a value of under 7,000. I think that's why I like the stack so much along with Jared Goff.
Yeah, I mean they both cheap here as well. Well, Robert Woods is cheap, 5,800. Cooper Kupp 64, not so much. But I think Cooper Kupp is the better play. So
I agree. Oh, I agree. I like Cooper Kupp. Out of the two, I would take Cooper Kupp 100% of the time all day over Robert Woods, but I just like a stack with both of them.
Yeah. Overall, I probably won't have too much of this game. I do like Cooper Kupp, but they got other receivers that I like more. I just can't buy into that he gonna get another 15 targets. I mean, I think it's gonna come back to normal, probably around 8 or 9, which is still good.
Yeah, my Niners suck, man. I hate to say it.
You always say it. Man. You always say it. It's still a division game, and division games they come to play. I mean, I won't be surprised. Listen, I wouldn't be surprised if this game is played pretty close. I mean, y'all not gonna win, but I wouldn't be surprised if the game is played pretty close.
I will.
You really would be. You'll be surprised.
If we had Brandon Ayuk, I would feel you a little bit. Maybe we got a shot because we got some. We ain't got nobody.
Richie James showed that he could carry the torch when it was his time to. That boy killed it against Green Bay. Speaking of that, I don't know if I'm going to pass up Richie James. That's another value play. If Brandon Ayuk is not playing and Deebo Samuel's not playing, Nick Mullins peppered targets to Richie James.
He ain't going to be able to pepper them to him with Jalen Ramsey out there.
Yeah, yes he can.
Okay.
Oh, no, I'm tripping. I thought you was gonna say Aaron Donald. Never mind.
No, Jalen Ramsey.
I forgot about that aspect of the team. Yeah. Never mind. No, Richie. Listen, this is the thing. You're right, but this is the thing. If you sit up there and play him thinking that he's a lock to get you something, you're correct. But if you look at the fact that Richie James is how much? 3,500, and he's probably the minimum on yours. He's 500 over the minimum. He's 3,500, and he's probably going to be 1% or less owned. All it takes is for him to line up somewhere like. First of all, you know what? I just thought about something. Who's the number one wide receiver on that team right now? It's not even Richie James. It's Kendrick Bourne.
It's Kendrick Bourne. I don't like him either.
I don't like him, but I'm talking about Richie James. Richie James not going to be lining up against Jalen Ramsey. He could be a value play. That's my point. That's all I'm saying. He could be a value play if you look at a receiver like Richie James who caught the ball 9 times with 13 targets for 184 yards and a touchdown. And I get that was against Green Bay, but it was still a professional team and it was still a hell of a output. So Nick Mullins is going to have to throw the ball. The run game ain't going to do nothing.
But guess who didn't play also against when he had that big game?
Kendrick Bourne
Kendrick
didn't
Bourne.
play. Yeah, but you know he's not going to be throwing the ball to Kendrick Bourne because Jalen Ramsey is going to shadow somebody, and he's going to shadow Kendrick Bourne. Anyways, if you want a value play that's very low percentage on, Richie James is an option. That's my whole point. I'm not saying I'm playing him, but I'm saying he's an option. The game of the week, Kansas City and Tampa Bay. Let me tell you something. This ain't the game of the week. This is what people are going to say the game of the week is because it's Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. But it ain't the game of the week because Kansas City going to beat the brakes off Tampa Bay. Okay? This ain't the game of the week. You know, Tom Brady is over the hill. People started to really realize that Tampa Bay is not what they thought they was. That defense is not what they thought they was. That secondary is trash. The front seven, if you can contain them, you can throw on them all day. But Mahomes will be able to throw on them anyway. Because Andy Reid is just that much of a magician to call a game to where that front seven wouldn't affect them, even if they could get to the quarterback. So this ain't gonna be no game of the week. But I do think it's gonna be. I don't want to say a shootout, but it's gonna be some air yards.
It's gonna be a shootout.
No, the reason why I say shootout, when I say shootout, I'm talking about they going back and forth scoring. That's not what's gonna happen.
Nah.
Kansas City gonna go up by several touchdowns, and Tom Brady gonna have to throw. And Tom Brady may finish with a line of 300-something yards for 3 touchdowns. But it's not gonna be because they going back and forth. It's gonna be because he had no choice. Because Kansas City is about to bust that ass.
I will say this. I do like Tom Brady this week. He always has bounce back games. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Then he came out the next week and killed it. Well, Bruce Arians came out and blasted him again. Deservedly so. But I see him having a pretty good game coming out this week. I do see Tom Brady having a big game.
Now, Tom Brady going to have a good game because this is not against a team that's going to cause him to not have a good game. Like, he has bad games against defenses that bring pressure.
Can rush the passer.
When he plays against a team that does not apply pressure, he's able to be methodical, and move the ball down the field. But the Kansas City don't present that danger to him, so he's going to have a good game. The problem is going to be with Tampa Bay not being able to stop Kansas City. Kansas City is good enough to stop Tampa Bay from time to time, but they're not going to be able to stop Kansas City as a whole. I like Travis Kelce. I mean, I feel like this is another game where Travis Kelce could have 120, 30 yards. You know, I mean, he's priced up. But he's worth it. Patrick Mahomes, of course, is worth it. I think Patrick Mahomes got something to prove because, last time he played Tom Brady, it was in that championship game, that AFC championship game, which they actually should have won if they didn't call that holding call, I think it was. So offsides, yeah. So Patrick Mahomes got something to prove. I think he coming with his A game. I think Tyreek Hill is a great play, but on the Bucs side, I love AB. What happened was what I wanted to happen. AB got plenty of targets, but the connection, if you watch the game, you notice the connection is not there yet. I'm talking about Tom Brady and AB.
Right.
And it's gonna happen. If any game is gonna happen, it's gonna be this one where they have to throw the ball. They playing from behind. They playing against a defense that's not as good. I mean, AB could have easily had 10 catches for 150 yards a couple of days ago. Like, he had one pass, he was wide open and he missed him. Another one was off his fingertips, and if he'd have caught it, that was about a good 40, 50-yard touchdown. So the opportunities are there, and AB is still cheap. So I'm going to be playing AB. I think people are going to be sleeping on him. They're not going to play him. They're going to be looking at Mike Evans and Godwin still. But I like Mike Evans and Godwin. I just like AB more. And that's really all I like from Tampa Bay is Tom Brady and AB.
Well, I definitely like the people you named. The one person I'm going to throw out there that I like also, I like Ronald Jones. Horrible game last week. Horrible, absolutely horrible game. But I think this is a game, and I kind of got to take my pick. I love the running game. Let me rephrase that because I don't know if it's Ronald Jones yet or Leonard Fournette on who, as far as who am I going to like the best out of the two. But I like Tampa. I can see Tampa Bay trying to get the ground game going and keeping Mahomes off the field.
If you think that's going to be successful, then yes, Ronald Jones will be a good play because he'll be the running back that leads that charge. If you think that they're going to be playing from behind and having to throw the ball, then you might want to play Leonard Fournette because he's the one that's going to be getting the catches out the backfield.
Right.
So it all depends on what you think the game script is going to be. I'm putting my money on coming from behind, but I don't like Leonard Fournette, so I ain't going to play him no damn way.
Right.
That's all we got for the fantasy. Listen, I got my L that I want to give out this week. You know, the person that's going to hold this L. I don't know if you got yours, but I'm going to go ahead and jump into mine. Brian Flores, I think you're a great coach, man. I think what you're doing with Miami Dolphins is amazing. So I'm not going to shit on you like I did with Falcons and the Cowboys. But I said this earlier when you made a decision about bringing Tua in for Fitzpatrick, that it was a bad decision and that your team was winning and that you should have brought in Tua if your team wasn't doing well. You should have kept Fitzpatrick in. And I said, what if he starts playing bad? Then you pull him out and now you know that's his psyche. You did exactly what I said. You did exactly what I said would happen if he played bad. You felt like you had to pull him out because your team is winning, because you want to make the playoffs. You wouldn't have had to do that if you would have let Fitzpatrick stay in.
Right.
You would have you'd been able to make a decision on playing Tua if Fitzpatrick messed it up. But now you didn't pull this young man out. That's not good for any quarterback. That's not good for a rookie to have to be pulled out of a game. You should have let him stay in the game. That's what you should have did because he could have came back. That could have been a defining moment in his career. But instead, you pulled him out of the game for Fitzpatrick, and you lost anyway. So you need to hold this L because you made a bad coaching decision. And hopefully it's not a decision that's going to be detrimental to the psyche of Tua moving forward.
It won't because he actually did get hurt.
But that's not why he didn't put him back in.
No, I know. Because if you saw him on the sideline, he actually looked like he could have came back in. The only reason I say as far as the psyche goes, it's like, look, you're hurt. I'm not putting you back out there to risk you getting injured again. They're going to be close with him. It was a leg injury. You know, initially the thumb wasn't the reason. But you know, coming off the hip, sir.
Brian Flores said that Fitzpatrick gave us the best chance to win. So he came out because of it initially, but he could have went back in after a few plays. That had nothing to do why he didn't come out of that game. Nothing to do at all.
Yeah, I just think it gave him a reason, so I don't think it'll affect Tua's psyche. I agree with you 100%. I just don't think it'll affect his psyche as much because
I don't know if it'll affect his psyche. I'm just saying nobody knows until it happens.
Yeah,
and I'm saying you shouldn't give a reason for his psyche to be affected in general. Like we don't know how that's gonna play out. What if he goes out and start playing bad again? He probably don't know that his psyche is going to be affected until, like, right now, I'm pretty sure he's sitting there like, you know what? I'm ready. You know, I messed up. I know what I got to do. Then you go out against the Jets, and you suck again. Now in the back of your mind, am I going to get pulled again? If I get pulled again, is it going to be for good? Am I not going to start again? If Fitzpatrick come in, if I get pulled, is he going to bring the team back and win? What if they do it? Like, that's the stuff that you don't know what's going to happen until it actually happened. But you could have avoided that by not making those dumb decisions. But like I said, overall, Brian Flores, you're doing a great job, but you messed this one up, man. You messed this one up.
Right. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm giving my L this week. I definitely have one, and I'm giving it to Jerry West. Jerry West, I love you. Lakers forever, but you are doing a horrible job, in my opinion, in free agency. You first of all, you let Montrezl Harrell go. You didn't make him a priority. I just read something y'all thinking about possibly getting rid of Lou Williams and starting over. You didn't address the most important position that you needed to address so far this offseason, which was your point guard position, because you don't have one. You still have not addressed that when Kawhi Leonard has even come out and clearly said we need a point guard. No knock to Patrick Beverly. He's not a point guard. He's a 3-and-D guy. He's an Avery Bradley that's short. That's what he is. So, you know, I give my L to the Clippers because right now the Lakers and Rob Pelinka, Jerry West is winning the race. And it's like it ain't no tortoise and hare. They done blew past you and ran past the finish line already, and you ain't even started the race yet. So my L goes to the Clippers and Jerry West, man, because you get rid of Doc Rivers, you scrapping everything. What are y'all doing? Where are you going? What is the plan? Because I don't see a plan. Maybe it's me, But they got to hold this L for me, man, because I think they have completely bombed. I know it's not over with, but so far in free agency, the Clippers have totally bombed. They're the only team that was in contention last year that's doing nothing.
Well, I agree with you. I think that they failed in free agency. Some people would beg to differ. I've heard some people say, "Oh, they got Luke Kennard. He's a 40% free 3-point shooter for his career." And they got Serge Ibaka. He's an upgrade over Montrez. And while I can't necessarily say that's not true, it's like your competition is who? The Lakers. So people are judging your free agency against who? The Lakers. So compared to the Lakers, your free agency was terrible. You didn't make the necessary moves to keep up. You didn't.
To me, and that's why I pointed out, yes, I love the Serge Ibaka play, but what did you get? You got a taller, older Montrezl Harrell that can shoot. Yeah, Serge Ibaka's a great defender and everything, but
he's a good defender. He's not great anymore.
Right. And I'll give you that completely. But that wasn't your most. You didn't really need Serge Ibaka. You already had Montrezl Harrell, and you didn't make him a priority. You paid Serge Ibaka, who's older, slower, and less athletic, and doesn't have the motor that he has, and you still don't have a point guard.
Yeah, and they tried to go after Rondo, but according to reports, Rondo decided to go with Atlanta because they could pay him more.
That's exactly what happened. They saying maybe they could trade for him later on or something like that. Who are you going to trade him for?
They're not going to trade him because Atlanta. They ain't got
Clippers
nothing to
can't
trade
pay
in.
him.
They ain't got nothing to trade in picks,
right?
And then they ain't got nothing to trade in personnel. And the Hawks is a team that if you're going to trade them, you got to give them something because they up and coming. They growing.
Right. And the Clippers don't have no picks. They gave them all away to Oklahoma City for Paul George.
Exactly.
So, I'm just like, what are y'all doing? What are you doing? You literally did nothing. You had a chance, even an opportunity to trade for Chris Paul. And he had interest in coming, and you didn't pull the trigger.
They being the little brother that they've always been.
And I appreciate them. That's why they get this L. I love it. Don't get me wrong, I love it. But yeah, you got to hold this L. Take it and hold on to it for a little while. Matter of fact, Jerry West, I want that L. But I want you to remember for taking your butt over there to the Clippers and not staying with your Lakers, traitor. That's what you get the L for. That L stands for Lakers. Remember that. Take it down. Write it down. Get off the logo. Put my boy Kobe on there. No, I'm going too far with all that. But needless to say, they need to hold this L.
Yeah. So that's all we got, man. It's a long show. We not gonna do these types of shows anyway. We got a little long winded when it came to that basketball stuff at the beginning. We've been going about 90 minutes, but it's all good content. Remember to like, go to YouTube, subscribe. Thank you for showing love. This is Hold This L. I'm Cappel,
and I'm Lonnie,
and we out.
We out later.